features of the gun in order to sort of market this whole scare campaign. That's why they said anything that looks like a machine gun is assumed to be a machine gun. Now let's get to the legal aspect. What did assault weapons mean legally in the law? What kind of legislation was crafted that dealt with assault weapons? And what did it do? Well, probably the major piece of legislation that dealt with assault weapons was the 1994 assault weapons ban. Now, if we look at this graphic, we can see what the ban actually bans. So as you can see here, the 1994 assault weapons ban outlawed any 2 of 5 characteristics on semi-automatic rifles with detachable magazines. And as you can see, those 5 features included collapsible stocks, pistol grips, bayonet lugs, flash suppressors, and a stepped barrel, which could allow for what they believe was like grenade launchers to attach and things like that. Now, take a look at these 2 firearms. They're both AR-15s, but under the 1994 assault weapons ban, the top one is illegal, but the bottom one is legal. As you can see, the bottom one does not have a collapsible stock, it doesn't have the stepped barrel, it doesn't have a bayonet lug, but it still has a pistol grip, and it still has the same size magazine as the one above, and they both shoot at the same rate of fire. The features that they banned don't really do anything to increase how lethal the firearm is. For example, a bayonet lug. How many times have you heard of someone being bayoneted to death? A flash hider. Has someone been able to kill more people because they had a flash hider on their gun? Not that I'm aware of in a civilian context. An adjustable stock. What this really does is actually help it so if you go to the range and you're a big guy and maybe you bring your son or your daughter to the range, you can adjust the length of pull, which is the how far you put the stock out essentially. You can accommodate it to a smaller shooter if you just bring it in, so you can switch from you to the child when you're at the range. It doesn't really do anything. Now, the justification that they used for these collapsible stocks is, well, it makes it so a firearm could be more concealable. Well, I could understand that argument if you decided to ban shorter length stocks, but that's not what they did. They just banned the ability to adjust. You could still have a stock that was super small at the smallest length that even a collapsible stock could go to, but they didn't ban the shorter stocks. They just banned the ability to adjust, which makes absolutely no sense. And a stepped barrel, like how many people have you heard of being killed by grenade launchers before the ban? Never happened. And the problem really is when you're using these terms, assault weapon, and you're talking about these different types of features that make a gun illegal and make them considered an assault weapon, even the legislators who are trying to pass these laws in states like California or even federally don't even know what these terms mean. For example, around 2007 or so, they were trying to redo the assault weapons ban after it expired in 2004. And different legislators came up and they started proposing their ideas. And as you can see from this graphic, they wanted to include some additional features like barrel shrouds and forward grips. But check out this clip of Carolyn McCarthy, who was proposing this legislation, how she responded to Tucker Carlson when he asked her about what was in her bill.
But I read the legislation and it said that it would regulate barrel shrouds. What's a barrel shroud and why should we regulate that?
The guns that were chosen back in those days were basically the guns that most gangs and criminals were using to kill our police officers. I'm not saying it was the best bill, but that was the best bill they could get out at that particular time. I actually don't know what a barrel shroud is. I believe it's a shoulder thing that goes up.
No, it's not.
So you can see Tucker Carlson asked her, do you know what a barrel shroud is? And she said, no, she doesn't know what a barrel shroud is. And he said, oh, because it's in your legislation. She's putting things in there that she doesn't even know what it means. And the funniest part was when she was trying to take a guess at what a barrel shroud was, she said it's a shoulder thing that goes up, which has since then become a sort of a meme in the gun culture world. So we know that typically when it comes to how they formulate these laws, they ban these guns not by really the function of the firearm, but by the cosmetic features of it. Now take a look at this video because it really does illustrate how insane this all is.
Let me tell you what $5 means to my campaign. $5 allows us to...
You can see here that you have a wooden gun, standard .223 semi-automatic rifle, and this type of gun would actually not be banned by the federal assault weapons ban or even the California assault weapons ban. And you can see that just by removing the wooden stock and replacing it with plastic cosmetic features that don't change the function of the gun, you're able to change it from a legal rifle to an illegal assault weapon. Keep in mind, the function of the gun has not changed whatsoever. It's still just as lethal, but you made it look scarier. Now, if you guys did watch my last video where I was interviewing the gun control protesters, one of the people that I did interview was actually a California state assemblywoman. So she's in charge of actually making these laws and passing them. Now let's go back and take a look at some of the things that she said. And when it comes to semi-automatic weapons, you mean all of them or just the rifles, or what are you talking about here? So even like handguns, for example?
Well, anything that can be used, just like I would like to mirror California state laws.
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, California allows semi-automatic handguns, for example, though.
Well, we've banned the bump stocks, so I don't know how you would.
That's that's like rifles. I mean, that's federally actually the bump
Well, and you
stocks,
can't
yeah.
get the semi-automatic ammunition here in California, so
What's semi-automatic ammunition?
the large magazines.
Oh, the magazines, not the
magazines, yes.
ammunition. Okay.
Yes, the magazines.
Yeah, gotcha. So you can see she talked about how we have semi-automatic ammunition that's banned in the state of California. She said how semi-automatic handguns couldn't possibly be legal because we outlawed bump stocks. I mean, this is someone who's in charge of making law in this state that governs millions of people, and she has literally no idea what she's